Hi everybody. This is Zehra Betul from Turkey, from Sakarya University. First of all, I would like to express my pleasure to be a part of this organization, and I am appreciate to meet the other academics from another countries. It's very good experience for me to hear such important issues from other participants. Today I will talk about the last commander of Prophet Muhammad, Usama bin Zayd, and his last troop to Byzantine, which didn't complete its mission successfully. My talk will discuss the reason of why some of the companions of Prophet Muhammad were reluctant to go with Usama's army. And I will throw light into the events paralleled with it, which caused some disputes among the companions. Now let's get started then. In his last day before his death, the messenger Muhammad ordered to prepare an army led by Usama bin Zayd to attack Byzantine in its land. Before going into the details of this battle, we would like to introduce Usama in order to understand why he appointed him as a commander of this army. His father Zayd bin Haritha was a slave of Khadija, the wife of Prophet Muhammad. When Khadija married the Prophet, she gave his slave Zayd bin Haritha to him as a gift, and the Prophet set him free, but Zayd still stayed with him until the last day of Prophet's life. Zayd and his son Usama were famous as the person whom Muhammad loved. Because of Zayd, they called Usama as beloved son of the person whom Rasulullah loved. His first attempt for an involvement in battles was when he was 14 years old by showing great courage and heroism. When he turned 18 years old, he joined the Battle of Mu'tah against Byzantine Empire under the flag of his father, and he saw the martyrdom of his father, but he continued to war under the command of eminent companions like Ja'far bin Abi Talib and Khalid bin al-Walid. Even though this war didn't end with the absolute victory of Muslims, but was a warning precursor for Muslims that Byzantine is a big threat for them as long as has stood around them. Thus, soon before his death, Prophet Muhammad prepared an army under the command of Usama bin Zayd, with a troop numbering 4,000 to Byzantine. It was the last biggest and important expedition during the Prophet era, because it was prepared to confront for the third time one of the biggest military power called Byzantine. The Prophet gave the leading of biggest and strongest companions like Abu Bakr, Umar bin al-Khattab, Khalid bin al-Walid, Talha, Zubair, Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas, Abu Ubaidah bin al-Jarrah, and so many older and more experienced companions to Usama's command. There was no one left from the companions but was ordered to join the army of Usama, except Ali bin Abi Talib. This decision of Prophet Muhammad had a shocking effect on everyone. Companions were wondering why the Prophet was in such a hurry, why there was the movement of apostasis, which means ridda in Arabic, threatening them from all surrounding areas, and why he was insisting to send a troop while he was almost dying. Why not any time else? And why all those elder and stronger companions were under the leadership of 18 years old Usama. There is no convincing actually answer on why the Prophet was so persistent on this expedition in Sunni references. But in Shia references, they think that it was a good timing for Prophet Muhammad to send Usama to avoid the dispute that may arise after his death on Caliphate issue. They came to this conclusion based on several events that indicates Ali bin Abi Talib's leadership issue. One of that was when the Prophet charged Ali as his deputy in Medina during his absence to take care of the people as Khalif when he left to the expedition to Tabuk. And the other event was while the Prophet was returning from the Hajj. He stopped at Ghadir Khum and made an announcement to pilgrims that Ali bin Abi Talib will be leader after his death. The other event called Black Thursday, when Prophet was on his deathbed and asked them to bring paper and ink to write down his last testament. But no one obeyed his request. Shia claims that the Prophet expressed several times that Ali bin Abi Talib is in charge after him. They say that the reason Prophet Muhammad asked unexpectedly Usama to march immediately with almost all oldest and powerful men from companions, with the exception of Ali, in order to make him the only one next to him in his death, so he could become the leader without any objection or conflict by other companions. Even though the departure of Usama's army from the city was making the city vulnerable against the movement of Ridda, the Prophet never changed his mind nor backed from his decision. Shia ulama severely condemned companions' attitude to the Prophet's decision, which was equivalent to Allah's decision. When Prophet Muhammad heard companions' rejection to go with Usama's army, he got very angry. Although he was feverish and very sick, he left his bed to mosque to give a khutbah, ordering them to leave Medina immediately, and mentioned that Allah has cursed whoever stays behind from the army of Usama. Companions were still reluctant to leave the Prophet sick. Usama as well asked many times his permission to stay in Medina while he is almost dying, but the Prophet insisted that he had to leave with his army very soon. On 12th of Rabiul Awwal, Usama left the city, but he couldn't get away too much and established his headquarters outside of Medina, because some companions still were reluctant again to move forward and insisted to stay in the city. Usama went to visit the Prophet to tell him what happens with his army. The Prophet told him again and again to proceed immediately. As soon as he arrived to the camp, he ordered his army to get prepared for departure. While they were almost leaving the camp, they received a message that Prophet Muhammad is passed away. Usama's army didn't complete the mission while the Prophet alive, but after Abu Bakr was elected as a Khalif, he regathered the army again under the command of Usama bin Zayd. This was the first military campaign of Muslims to Syrian region on the style of influx. This victory erased the fear of Byzantine in Muslims' hearts as well, and was the best opportunity to show the world that Muslims are still so strong even after the death of their Prophet. Usama's close relationship with the Prophet Muhammad always lived with his name until the last day of his life. All of companions treated him with respect, and he was privileged one in the period of all caliphs he lived in. He died in Jerf during the era of Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan in 674 at the age of 60. This is all I wanted to tell about Usama bin Zayd as the last commander of Prophet Muhammad. Thank you all for listening to me. I'm so glad to meet all of you here. Please feel free to ask me questions. Thank you.